buddy. And everybody was saying, hey, why on Sportswire Radio you going live? And what's going on here? But you know what? There is no Easter egg hunts for us. There is no chocolate candies. There is no vacations because we have a full slate ahead today of pro wrestling coverage. And kicking things off for us here is 4 superstars from our very dear friends over at Firestar Championship Wrestling. They had a phenomenal show back in the month of March, and they're getting ready for a big one coming up here on June the 3rd, and we're going to talk about it, plus much, much more. And joined us here is our very dear friend BMD, no stranger to us here on Sportswire Radio. Also, for the first time, a real treat, the legendary Johnny Palmer, the Necessary Evil, and we even have a champion with us here. We have the openweight champion, Leo McLean and Bella, so they need no further introductions, but we're going to give it to him anyway. So, wait for it. Further ado here on the Sports Report. Number one, Sports Show. Pro Wrestling Stars here from Firestar Championship Wrestling. That is Johnny Palmer and BMD and Leo McLean, openweight champion of the world, and Bella. Good evening, everybody. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, man.
Happy Easter to you.
Rosa.
All right, so obviously a lot to get into here tonight. Certainly getting some of the happy Easter wishes already. But for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, obviously I want to go back for a few moments here on the show that was in March, because obviously we had some of you guys on here and gals before that show, and I want to go with BMD first, because obviously BMD, you were there, and I'm going to get to our champion first in Bella, and then I'll come around to Johnny. So set the tables for us on that March show. I heard a lot of great things through the grapevine, and that's why I think we're going to have an even better show coming up here in June. But for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, talk about the show that was here in March.
For our first show, it was absolutely fantastic. The crowd were absolutely amazing. There was some absolute stellar matches. The night really didn't go all to plan for me because, first off, I did Jam Dog that favour, and then he turned his back on me, turned his back on the rest of his team. So then, I guess even better, we're meant to have a match. Guess what? That gets cancelled. So now, all I've got is the Big Daddy Memorial. I'm angry, Tom. I'm really angry.
You look angry right now. You look like you're going to want to go beat up some people here. And certainly, I mean...
I always do, Tom. I always do.
Yeah, but this is a little different. I mean, obviously, you're going to have a lot of aggression you're going to want to take out on people coming up in a few short weeks from now. So, I mean, before I get to everyone else, I mean, I got to imagine this is going to give you a lot of incentive coming up here, and anybody that gets in your way might be cruising for a beating, as some would say.
You see, when it comes, I wasn't just in a tag match that night. I was also in a rumble with the likes of Palmer, with the likes of Bella, with the likes of our openweight champion, Leo. See, that night I realized something that in my 1 year of doing shows, that you know what? I am a beast when I want to be.
I've seen you in the ring in the past. I've seen you in other promotions. I know you can certainly throw some weight around there, no pun intended.
This is something different, Tom. This is something different.
Okay, well, we're going to certainly find out here, but let's circle the wagons here first and go to Mr. Johnny Palmer, certainly the Necessary Evil, before I get to a ton of comments here and come over to Bello and Leo. And obviously, it's a real treat for us to have you here for the first time, Johnny, and hopefully somebody turns that off there. But, Johnny, I hope you're with us there, and I guess maybe he's frozen in time. Somebody has a speaker.
Johnny, I hope you're with us there, and I guess maybe he's frozen in time.
No, sorry.
Somebody has a...
Yeah,
Had a few technical difficulties there.
You got it.
Yeah.
Can
you guys hear me okay?
Now I hear you. Now I hear you. No, I'm still on.
I think we've got a bit of a delay.
Yeah,
I think we've got a bit of a delay.
Yeah, you might have to
You might have to come back in and out because I can't.
Right, bear with me. See if I can sort this out.
Okay, we're gonna come back to you because I'm gonna have to put you on mute there. So we're gonna come back here and speak with, unfortunately, that is technical difficulties, and that is our open weight champion here in Bella. And I'll go to you, Mr. Openweight Champion Leo McCann, because you're going to be a busy man on June the 3rd. You've got a really action-packed match, which we'll talk about here shortly. But talk about that feeling of winning the Openweight Championship. We spoke with you in February, and we spoke about this possibility. So for those that are listening and watching, talk about being the Openweight Champion, and what does that mean to you on behalf of Firestar Pro Wrestling?
Well, for myself, when I came into the Rumble, I was only at number 5. 4 other competitors were still there. And one of them happened to be BMD. What a night it was. I just loved the carnage. I loved the havoc. Then it led down to 2. Myself and Austin Brooks. I know Austin very well. We've trained together. We've not had a proper match yet, but fingers crossed when we get a 1-on-1. And the moment he fell off the ring and I turned around, I was stunned. I looked everywhere. I was like, did this actually happen? Fell down on my knees. Then the referee just handed me this beauty. As soon as it was in my hands, I just couldn't believe it. My first title, my first Rumble win. Oh, even right now, it's still unbelievable holding on to this.
Hey, I tell you what, it looks as pretty as a championship you're going to find here. And I mean, just talk about that moment. I mean, was it better than anticipated? I mean, just talk about that moment of winning that Rumble and then winning that Openweight Championship and just that moment itself.
I can't put it into words. The emotion was all over. I felt happiness. I felt, for some reason, I felt like crying. Just holding that title in my hands, it brought out so many different things I never knew I could feel.
All right, there, and we'll come back to you in a second, certainly, and Johnny as well. We'll see how you're doing. But Bella, obviously good to be with you, and I know we're going to certainly see you, definitely a huge part of things once again here in the 3rd of June, and talk about your performance there in March and kind of experiences for the first show here for Firestar Championship Wrestling.
Well, the last show, it was such a different atmosphere to what I'm used to. The crowd was amazing. My match didn't go the way I was hoping for, but it gave an insight of what I might experience more often later on. And I've worked a lot more on different things, combat, what curse they can bring. So going into this next show, I have more confidence in myself to get further than what I did. And with Leo backing me and helping me along the way, it has boosted a lot more of myself in the way I perform.
All right, let me ask you a follow-up question. Then I have a urgent comment I'm going to get to. And in fact, I have a ton of them I'm going to read off here. But you talked about a little bit of adversity, Bella, and I'm going to actually say maybe in a way this gives you, kind of like BMD, some extra motivation, some extra incentive to kind of deal with that adversity to where we see you on the 3rd of June, and maybe that's going to make for an even stronger performance and long-term better standing for you in Firestar Championship Wrestling. Give me your thoughts on that.
Well, with the way the last match went, it did anger me a lot because going into it, I thought I knew I had her and where I wanted her, and then it just flipped on its head. So I have been working a lot more to combat that, but going into this gauntlet match, there are 2 people I have never seen, never met before. I don't know how they work. But with that anger that I'll be taken through, I'm hoping that it gets me through and gets me past them to get back at Kirsty.
Well, I'll tell you what, certainly anger could very well make the heart grow fonder. And I do have a ton of comments here first before I get to Johnny Palmer. Hopefully technical difficulties are sorted out. Skulls, our very good friend from the EWF in the state of California, says Happy Easter to everybody. Casey Jack Bradley, young trainee from GT Ministries, says, hello, everyone. Great to see Firestar and Happy Easter. Somebody who I know is going to be a part of things coming up here on the 3rd of June. Well, the lawman, Kyle Kell. I'm going to ask you about him in a few minutes, BMD. Don't you worry. Mr. Sportswire is definitely going to be a part of the conversation as always. Our guest on Thursday, the legendary C2K former Puerto Rican national heavyweight champion, also big star in the RWA. Getting ready for a big show next weekend. I have some fans out there already. Love BMD from Jackie Mayfield. C2K says respect to all of y'all. Also, Dustin Hart, formerly from the CCW Tag Team Champions, the CWO, as they lost the belts at Miners Mania 2. Good evening, all. Big shout out to BMD, Palmer, Leo, and Bella, and of course, the legend himself, yours truly. I don't know about that. Well from Hammerhead Smith. I got a comment from him in a second. So I got a comment from him in a second that I'm going to read off. But our friends over at the CWE Championship Wrestling Entertainment, Mr. Joshua Howard, of course, the boss of the company, says, big up to Palmer, the necessary. I'm going to be definitely addressing you in a second. Top guy, both in and out of the ring, and BMD, a decent young lad, a good young prospect. I agree about all fronts. BMD is going to turn into Fit Finley, a man who loves to fight. Boy, that's a good one. I might agree. We fixed that. Love the face paints because C2K kind of does that. Lawman addresses the Wi-Fi. Our champion of Firestar Championship Wrestling, of course, Rockstar Rob Bagwell, going to definitely address that in a second. How is everyone today? Shiny belt. James Barris, we know who James Barris is, obviously, from Colory Championship Wrestling, says, how's the tricks? Good evening, everyone, from Andrew Hanley. Andrew's one of our favorites. And then let me get to Mr. Barris. He says we have a women's title vacant in CCW. Maybe I'll ask Bella that question in a second. But Hammerhead Smith here says, where was my invite? I stole the show at the debut show. And to top it off on the 3rd of June, I'm going to do it again and be the new heavyweight champion because he is in a triple threat match with Rockstar Rob Bagwell and, of course, the legendary, in his own right, Tom LaRufa. We've seen him in some really, really important places. But Johnny Palmer, let's certainly hope that the Wi-Fi and the echoing is all for naught and it's all over. And, I mean, set the tables for us and what we can expect from you coming up on June the 3rd. And how are you?
I'm very well, sir. So, June the 3rd. Yeah, I'll be there at the show. And I've issued an open challenge to the entire locker room. It'll be interesting to see who steps out that day. Now, there have been a few rumblings that one guy who's on the show today may be answering that challenge, but we'll see on the night. As far as the March show goes, if BMD is going to step up to my open challenge, you can ask Leo how hard I hit. Although, if I remember rightly, you already know how hard I hit, don't you, kid? Because it didn't go Leo's way against me that night. He may have walked away with the belt in the Rumble. He got the title, but he didn't get it from me, did he?
Maybe.
And all the respect in the world to Leo for the fight he brought to me, and he threw everything at me. The poor lad even tried to stomp a hole through my chest. Unfortunately, he found out that I'm a lot bigger than that. And it didn't quite come off as planned, did it, mate? Unfortunately. Congrats on winning the belt. Just hope I never come for it. Just hope I never come for it. Because it is an open weight title, which means any weight class can go for it. So you've put one hell of a target on your back. So I hope you can find a way to keep hold of it. Because getting to the top of the mountain isn't the challenge. It's staying there. And you're going to find out, as a former title holder, as the longest and the inaugural EVM Showcase title holder, and I held that belt for over a year. And it didn't matter how long I held it. I held that for over 26 defenses. See, anyone can hold a belt for any length of time if you don't defend it. It's not the length of time you have a belt. It's the amount of effort you put in and the amount of defenses you make with it. So let's see how long you can keep hold of it.
Some strong words there, and I'm also going to have to ask you, by the way, Mr. Palmer, about Championship Wrestling Entertainment in a little while, because you're actually going to be in the ring with another guest that we have coming up next week on the air. So I'm going to have to ask you about that, but I want to let Leo respond to that, obviously. Certainly, the Necessary Evil gave you some necessary advice, possibly, but certainly some strong comments, some Firestar-like comments, and your turn to respond.
Well, he did speak the truth. He did knock all the shades out of me. And I've got a lot of respect for you for doing so, because there's one thing you learn when you're in Scotland is when you get beat up, don't go back. Just respect the person. I respect you, Palmer. And I'll take every single bit of advice you just gave me. But that title will stay around my waist for as long as I can hold it. Even if it is against yourself again, next time, I'll just be more prepared. A little bit more unpredictable. So hopefully, I do meet you in the ring one day again. I hope.
I can respect the confidence. I can respect the confidence.
All right, there. Well, we'll certainly come back to that, and I have a couple more comments. I'm going to come to you, BMD, actually, in a second for it, because there's sort of a person I kind of want to get your thoughts on, and I'll come to Bella as well. And C2K says, would love to have Leo and Bella to be part of the Darkness Squad in the RWA. We would definitely conquer the RWA in the whole world. That's obviously up to management of Firestar and the RWA, which is the Rochester Wrestling Alliance, which is all the way in upstate New York, and they're obviously in the UK, so maybe management of both camps can work on that. Stay tuned. Skulls says his hit will knock you into next week. And I want to give a comment to somebody. I want to push him right up to the stream, because this is the owner and promoter of the Wrestling War Zone in the state of California, Mr. Darrow Johnson. And Darrow Johnson and his company, the reason I want to bring him up, because he actually just had from his company, Jenna. Jenna just was there for his company when his stint here in the U.S. just came to an end, or is about to come to an end here, and he had him in his company, so he might be always looking for talent overseas, and Mr. Johnson certainly knows a thing or two about having some of the top stars in the U.K., and Jenna is one of those stars that we had an honor to speak with, just like you guys, so big shout-out as always to Mr. Johnson, but, BFD, last time I had the lawman Kyle Kennedy on, you guys certainly went back and forth a little bit, and he's got a championship belt also in his own right. And I mean, do you now want to respond to Kyle Kennedy, the lawman? Obviously, he's certainly making his way to Firestar Championship Wrestling. And anything you want to say to the big man Kyle Kennedy, the lawman?
I've got bare time for Kyle Kennedy. As I said last time Kyle was part of your show, we've got a lot of respect for each other. We might have hit off on the wrong foot at first, rubbed each other the wrong way, but that's just us trying to make a name for ourselves in this business. We live, we learn. Kyle Kennedy is one hell of a wrestler. Now, if he finds himself in this battle royal, unfortunately all bets are off. We've even made a deal. We've said whoever eliminates the other, we buy him a beer.
I do. I remember that very well. I mean, so are you saying then that Kyle Kennedy's going to buy the beers?
I'm going to try to get him to buy the beer. Let's just say
What's your favorite? What's your beer of choice then?
My beer is I like a lager.
Okay, all right. So certainly that could be a sign of things to come, maybe. Also, let's bring back here Mr. Hammerhead Smith, because I think Hammerhead Smith is certainly, we're going to bring him back. I promise you, Mr. Hammerhead, we're going to bring you back, obviously, next week. That'll certainly happen. We'll definitely make that happen. But he says directly to Leo, listen here, fella. How about this? When I become the FCW heavyweight champion, then I kick Valletta's fill in the blanks again because I was robbed. Remember, I took the European title, then I'll come for the open weight, son. So, I mean, Leo, you're getting shots fired here left and right. I mean, you want to say something to Hammerhead Smith? Certainly that he's looking to make a name further off you and your championship belt?
Well, he is a big boy. And it's the fact he's actually saying he's going to go for one title, go for the next, then go for that. He's running on all of our coattails just to get his name out there. So, yeah, I've seen what he can do in the Rumble, and I did get a slight terrifying thoughts, but then it came to me, I was like, you know what? I know how to actually beat him. So, that shows one thing. I lasted what he couldn't. Maybe I can outlast him again. So, you want to go after the other two titles? I'll keep that one warm, but it won't leave my waist.
Well, we'll certainly find out here, and we are on Sportswire Radio speaking all things related to Firestar Championship Wrestling. And before we get to everybody here with us, I want to make sure everybody follows Firestar Pro Wrestling at Firestar Championship Wrestling. You can also like their pages on Facebook, join their group. Get ready for June the 3rd. It is going to be a phenomenal show. You thought the first show was good? Wait until you find out what June 3rd has to offer. Adults only £8. Think about this. With everything going on in the world, movie tickets are through the roof, food prices, beer, but just £8 to get into it. Family, £20. Doors open 6:15. Match time starts at 7 o'clock. We have a phenomenal card, and almost all of our people here with us tonight are going to be a huge part of it and some. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryson. Bella, I got a comment for you, actually. So let's come up here and give it to you here before I get to everybody else. And that is Summer Rain. And we certainly know Summer Rain very well. We've seen Summer Rain and make a huge impact, especially in places like CCW. And says, Bella, I'll be making my return on the 3rd of June. So buckle up for the Fiery Vixen's return and let there be fire. I mean, Bella, you are the Oracle, so I have to let you respond and some and talk about what Summer Rain had to say here.
Well, I have been waiting for Summer Rain. The last show, it was supposed to be a 3-way. And triple threat, sorry. And it was supposed to be me, Summer Rain, and Kirsty. Unfortunately, Summer Rain wasn't able to participate. So I have been waiting for my shot at Summer Rain. So I am prepared. She can bring the fire all she wants. The darkness will respond.
All right, well, we'll certainly have to see here. And we do have some more comments, so we're going to certainly pull them up. Let's see here. Rockstar Rob Bagwell says, Hammerhead Smith, there's no way you're walking out with the heavyweight championship. Well, I'm sure that'll be Mr. Bagwell, Mr. Smith's conversation for another time here. The lawman Kyle Kennedy says, clock is ticking, big man. I look forward to stepping in there with you. It's been a long time coming. Let's tear the building down. Yeah, I mean, but he also wants to let you know, though, that the beers will be on you, however. So certainly you might be getting ready for the beer tab there. And Hammerhead Smith also wants to say directly to Mr. Leo McLean, Leo, I'm already a name, son. I just damn well know I'm capable of taking these titles. If you didn't see my promo earlier today, which is on the Firestar Championship Wrestling Group, I am taking all comers. Just ask Palmer what I'm like in the ring. I'm a force to be reckoned with. All right, fair enough here. But I want to come back to you, Johnny Palmer, because, you know, I'm hearing this back and forth with these different individuals, but you're the guy that's been at the top of the mountain. You're the guy that's been there in these big spots. And, I mean, I kind of think here that you're the guy, in a way, that everybody should be paying attention to most, because what you're going to do, I think, could be damage that people, especially in Firestar Championship Wrestling, and maybe even some on the stream, may never be the same afterwards again.
You're correct. You see, as Leo even stated, he took the beating I gave him, And yeah, okay, I've earned his respect. But sorry, buddy, it really doesn't mean anything to me. I don't need anybody's respect. Okay, I've taken all the respect. Everywhere I go, they put me in main events and for title shots. The other week at Brawl, I was there facing for the inaugural Birmingham title. Now, yeah, I came up a little short against Jay Skies, but Jay Skies is a hell of a talent, so there was no shame in losing to him. I'm off to CWE in April to go after the UK title against B.A. Rose and Big Cheese Logan, two of the biggest, most physically imposing guys out there. And as Hammerhead said, I've been in the ring with Hammerhead, and he's one physically imposing guy, and yet I was one of the only guys to be able to get him off his feet and drop him on his head. But be under no illusions, if anyone has the skill, the ability, and quite frankly, the pedigree as a second-generation wrestler to take all those titles, it is Hammerhead. And I hope he does, because then he'll have to cross paths with me, and maybe then there's some titles I can take off him. But be under no illusions, Leo. If Hammerhead comes for your open weight title, you may be in serious trouble. Just remember that.
Let me ask you a follow-up question, because you rattled off some opponents that I am going to get to in a little while, especially Mr. Big Cheese Logan. But I kind of feel like that these next several weeks, I know you've been a champion. I know you've been at the top of the mountain. I know you've been up there, and certainly Hammerhead Smith, you certainly are a peer of his, and you've certainly have done a lot in this business already that quite frankly, even some here on the stream have not done. Do you feel like, in a way, that this is going to really kind of set off a huge 23 ahead for you, whether it's June the 3rd, April the 21st, May? I mean, I kind of have the feeling here you're going to be in the middle of several huge events that is going to lead you possibly to more gold coming up here. I mean, talk to me about that aspect where I kind of think we might be seeing a huge next several weeks for you.
Of course, the next several weeks are huge. And even if I don't walk away with the gold in every appearance, the fact of just being there opens more doors, opens more opportunities, lets people see who I am, what I'm about, and what I can do. I've been up and down this country for the last 4 years. I was one of the only guys who worked in 2020 when shows were able to happen for that very brief 2-month period in the UK. I have been everywhere, and I have done as much as I can. And I'm going to continue to do that. So the next couple of weeks, yeah, they are very important. And they are vitally important for me to take gold everywhere I go. Because then that means everyone else is going to want me. Because everyone else should want me. Because everyone should want to see a true vulgar display of Palmer. Everywhere I go, people do learn that sometimes evil is necessary. So as far as the next few weeks go, yes, they're important. Because they're going to lead on to bigger, better things out in other places for me as well. Because I go as many places as I can. And I will face anyone. I will take on anyone that's willing to take me on. Whether you're a veteran, whether you're a new guy, whether you're just starting out, whether you've been around since, whether you've been around since the dawn of time, it doesn't matter. I've trained under some of the best. And if I'm a trainer. I mean, just today, I've been training some of the new lads at Underground Wrestling Revolution. Some of these guys coming up, they're going to be also names to watch long after I'm gone. And that's going to be my legacy, not just the belts that I take, but the guys that I bring up and the damage that they cause and the success that they achieve.
I'm going to ask you about some of that, because I do know in the past you actually did hold a seminar for our friends over at Nonstop Action Wrestling, and I'm sure the likes of the Lawman Kyle Kennedy certainly were there for that. So I'll definitely come back to all of that here. And Hammerhead Smith wants to follow up, says, listen to what Palmer said, Rockstar. If you're watching, I'm taking your title, fella, and Palmer until next time, pal. So there's definitely unfinished business out there, and we do have unfinished business with Hammerhead Smith on Sportswire Radio. And I will say for Leo McLean, anybody else, when a guy like Hammerhead Smith is in the ring with the Billington Bulldogs, which we now see on national worldwide TV over in MLW, which is in America on the Reels channel, the Reels network, that certainly tells you that Hammerhead Smith is definitely a force to be reckoned with here. But, I mean, Leo, obviously you're an open weight champion. And how do you use this then? Leave aside what happens on the 3rd of June, but how do you use this championship as a springboard maybe to seeing you in some other places coming up?
Well, gold always shines, but it won't shine brighter than the person wearing it. So I'm not just looking at this as my first title. I'm looking at this as I'm the first open weight champion. So that there has to put my name out there somewhere. Because without saying open heavyweight championship and Leo McLean, to me it doesn't sound right. So if there is any promoters who do want an unpredictable champion, look no further. Watch Firestar, see what we can do, and then watch the champions, see how much harder we do it.
All right, well, we'll certainly find out here, undoubtedly, no question about that. And again, please follow Firestar Championship Wrestling, Firestar Championship Wrestling on Instagram, Facebook, and certainly tickets are still available for June the 3rd, but I have a feeling that those tickets aren't going to last too much longer here. You know, BMD, I mean, we've heard a lot already from you, and obviously I know there's going to be a lot ahead further, but, I mean, I got to think, though, June 3rd, after what I heard from you earlier and seeing the comments back and forth from the likes of a Kyle Kennedy, that there's going to be a lot of pressure on you for this show coming up. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on you because there are people out there that doubt BMD. There are people that say, well, you know what? He's this big man, but, you know, what has he really done? Yes, he's been training. He's been out there. But I kind of think that there's going to be some pressure on you to perform and perform in a big way on June 3rd. Do you feel any pressure coming up here in terms of our next show?
Of course I feel pressure. If you're not feeling pressure as a wrestler performing, then why are you in this business? You should be feeling pressure all the time or something is wrong. I welcome pressure. I welcome any haters who don't think BMD is good enough or doesn't deserve the chance. Because yeah, I may be a little more green. I may be starting out. I may be this new guy, whatever. But you know what? I'm a big guy that can move. I'm a big guy that performs under pressure. So, Palmer, if I did somehow take your open challenge, you'd know. Because we wouldn't be in a rumble. Because it wouldn't be other people around us. It'd be me and you. There'd be no one else in the way. If you are not feeling that pressure, then we are wasting our time.
So you're saying, though, that Palmer would know if you would have taken that challenge. So obviously right now, we don't know anything about this then. So you're not... Go ahead. Jump in. I see you want to chomp at the bit. Go ahead. Say something, BMD. Tell us how you feel.
You see, I've got some pretty awesome plans coming up this year. I'm going to be in the Big Daddy Memorial match, which is extremely special to me. I'm going to be coming back to Yorkshire. There is a lot riding on because I have got that pressure. But the question is, Palmer, how would you feel about it?
You want to respond there, Palmer? You want to respond there? Because BMD's basically talking to you.
Okay. Big man. Real talk. Hoss to Hoss. Yeah, we're both going to be in the Big Daddy Memorial Battle Royal. And yeah, it means a lot to both of us. You, because it's your hometown. Me, because anyone who knows me knows my legacy of where I've trained and whom I've trained under. So yeah, it means a lot to the pair of us. And I'm sorry, I know you've got your little beer bet with the law man. If he gets in the way, I'm going to launch him out the same way I'm going to do it to everyone else. Because as big as he is, he ain't Palmer big. The one guy in the match who's Palmer big is you. So yeah, there is a little bit of pressure because you do have the hometown advantage. But that doesn't bother me. Because while all them fans are screaming your name, I can block it out. Because while you're soaking all the adulation, it won't faze me one bit. And I'll tell you why.
Really? Why?
Wolves care not. Wolves care not the opinions of sheep. You pander to them. I do things for myself. The pressure I feel is the pressure to win, to prove myself, to take titles, make money. That's what matters. There are two things that are real in this business: the money and the miles. I've put in the miles, so now it's about time I started making the money that goes with it. You feel me?
I'm sorry, Palmer. That, like, you see, you're coming in to make money. You're coming in to be this big star. That's cool, man. But you know what? That's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to make money. I'm not here to be famous. I'm doing it for the pure love of wrestling. I don't care if I'm all my life on the independent circuit. You know what? I'm happy, because you know what? It means I'm having a good time, because the moment wrestling stops becoming fun is the day I will hang my boots up, Palmer. See, when I first met you, Palmer, back in the day, you were someone that reached out for me. You were someone that put their hand over me and helped me guide it, and I thank you for that, mate. I really do. But when it comes to this, when it comes to being in that ring with you, Palmer, this is something different, man. And I'm really sorry.
Do you think I ever stopped guiding you? Why do you think I've said what I've just said? When I beat you, not if, when. It's not for anything other. It's not just for me. When I beat you, it's to teach you a lesson, something for you to take away, something for you to learn from. You see, I was like you once. I did it for the love of the sport. I did it for the passion. But what you learn after traveling hundreds upon thousands of miles, it doesn't come cheap. You should already know that from the distance you travel alone. It doesn't come cheap. So you need to make sure that you make that bread so that you can carry on in this business, because ultimately that's what it is, a business. Now, I can respect the fact that you've got all the passion. But like you said, I started guiding you initially. I reached out to you because I saw something in you. And I thought all the wars you went through with guys like Slugger, and even being in the room with guys like me, would have actually showed you that you need to give more. But it didn't show you. You've still got this idea. You've still got this idealized idea of wrestling. It's a passion project. No, you need to want to win titles. My pressure that I feel is because I want to be the best. I want to be on top, and I need to prove to everyone I'm on top. And that's exactly what everyone should be wanting to do. It's not about the fans. It's about you.
I genuinely can't believe that my friend, my mentor, has just come out with that. The person that has told me time and time again to enjoy what you do, because if you don't love it, where's that Palmer? Where's the Palmer?
Oh, I still love it. I just love winning more.
You just love selling out, mate.
Well, let me ask a question to you, Palmer, because obviously, and I see that there is some tension brewing between BMD and the necessary evil Palmer. Will we get a vulgar display of Palmer coming up on June the 3rd? Stay tuned, certainly, to our friends at Firestar Championship Wrestling. But before I get to several comments here, because people seem to be really curious about this here, and this was certainly that we didn't see this one coming here, just kind of like our last segment on Sportswire Radio with our friends at Firestar Championship Wrestling. But Palmer, I have to ask you, I mean, has BMD disappointed you so far in how you've guided him? Because clearly it seems like you've wanted BMD to go into a different direction, and it sounds to me as if BMD's disappointed you a little bit here so far. I mean, what do you say to that?
He hasn't disappointed me. But the fact that he's going into this with this ideology, let's do it for the fans. He's doing himself a disservice. I'm not upset with him. I just feel that he's doing himself a disservice, and that's not how I taught him. I felt that I taught you how to stand up for yourself, to make it about yourself, you are the one that is most important to you, not them. Not the promoters, not the fans, not the companies. You are the one that should be most important to you. And if I have to beat that into you as your mentor, then that's what I'll do. You may not like me. You may even start to hate me. But eventually, you'll understand that what I do, there is a reason behind it. And you'll understand why I am called the necessary evil and why evil is necessary. Because what I'm going to do, some may consider it evil. I will never turn my back on you. But if it means I've got to beat some sense into you, then that's what I'll do.
Let me ask you another question, and I'm going to get to Leo and Bella in a second, I promise. And I have actually a comment that's going to tie to why I want to speak to you, Mr. Johnny Palmer. And, you know, the lawman Kyle Kennedy is a guy that seems to me that he's made a name for himself in other places. He's certainly made his voice heard loud and clear, maybe even louder than a BMD over the past year. And he certainly, obviously, takes even a little minor shot at you in a sense, Mr. Palmer, saying that neither of you are winning this Big Daddy Battle Royal because he is. And let me ask you a follow-up to this, Mr. Palmer, because, you know, this is a question I've asked other veteran wrestlers, and you certainly are a veteran. You've been a world champion. You've been a main eventer. You've been in there with the who's who of people, which our guest here also here have not had that same experience. Do you feel like in some ways that these quote unquote new kids on the block, or these, let's say, younger wrestlers per se, and I'm not saying anybody in general, but just let's say particular per se, that maybe they're going about it the wrong way, they're becoming too big for their britches, or you kind of like the moxie? And give me your thoughts as the veteran guy, the guy that's been there at the top, the guy that's been there and stayed there, the guy that's been there with the who's who of people and come out on the other side. So how do you feel about all these young wrestlers trying to make a name off the backs of people like yourself?
Do you know what? I have no problem with anyone making a name off my back. I have no problem with these guys going out there and making a name for themselves. Because making a name for yourself, that's how you get paid. That's how you get noticed. That's how you get put on all these companies. That's how you travel. What disappoints me, and maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just too old, too tired, and too jaded. Because I wasn't a young kid when I came into this business. I was a 30-year-old man who had done his stint in MMA. I'd done my stints working security and working the doors in the UK. I didn't come into this fresh-faced. I came into this understanding exactly what it was. The business of combat, and combat to make money. And a lot of these kids now, they don't see it like that. They see it as, oh, it's a great way. I've seen all my heroes do it, so I want to do it. Yeah. They ain't going to pay the bills. They ain't going to put food on the table. They need to understand, first and foremost, that this is a business. And while you can do nice things, while you can do charity shows and give up your time for worthy causes, as I do myself, there also comes a point where you can't just look at it as it's for the fans, because the fans don't pay you. The promoters are the ones that pay you. The companies pay you. The fans may hate me, but they still want to see me, and they'll still pay to see me. You don't need to pander to anybody. You need to put yourself first.
Strong words there from the necessary evil Palmer, who we're also going to see in action June the 3rd for Firestar Championship Wrestling, in addition to the Oracle Bella, our open weight champion Leo McLean, and also BMD. And I'm going to bring Leo and Bella back in because another company seems to be watching, and they seem to be gleefully watching, and that is our friends over at Breakout Pro Wrestling. Certainly, they say good to see again BMD and Palmer. But for you, Leo and Bella, I mean, anything you might want to say to a company like Breakout Pro Wrestling that might want to see what you guys can bring to the table, and maybe even bring to another company starting up also in June? Anything that you guys might want to address to this upstart company that's certainly been very strong out there in the social media game, and certainly have been with us here on Sportswire Radio quite a bit over the past several weeks.
Plain and simple. You want good wrestlers? Pick the champs. Pick the past champs. Sure, there's new stars out there. I was a new star at one point. I know how hard it is to try and get out there. The breakout, if you're looking for something unpredictable and a whole fun load of havoc, look no further than the unpredictable Jackal, Leo McLean, and the Oracle Bella.
Want to say anything, Bella? Want to say anything to Breakout Pro Wrestling and anybody else out there?
Well, if you're looking for someone maybe a bit unique, it's not hard to look. I'm right here.
Well, I'll tell you what. This is exactly why you want to follow Firestar Championship Wrestling, and you can do that on Instagram and Facebook. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, and we're hanging out here having a very, very interesting experience here with some of the superstars of Firestar Championship Wrestling. That is BMD, Palmer Necessary Evil, and our openweight champion Leo McLean and the Oracle Bella. And if you like what you hear from us on Sportswire Radio, continue to give us a like and follow on Facebook at Sportswire Radio. Also YouTube at Sportswire Radio. You can rewatch and relive some of these shows here coming up. Also sportnarium.com/player, where 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, you can listen to all of our great content. I'll be back here, coming up here at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Central Time with our friends over at Wrestling Championship Entertainment. So a very, very busy day ahead. People are asking me, are you taking the day off? Are you taking it easy? And like I said, ain't no way in hell that I'm doing that, because we are here with our very dear friends over at Firestar Championship Wrestling. But I have a ton of comments I want to get to. I want to bring up another comment here in a second. So I think this individual, BMD, you might have seen out there in the ring. He said, he says, you need a minute? You need a minute? Okay. Well, if you need a minute, listen, certainly.
Gonna get a light on for you.
Yep. Blair Witch Project 2.0 there for you, BMD, huh? Big BMD, stick a light on, man. Want to see that gorgeous face.
Well, I'll tell you what, while he's sorting the light out, let me just extend a little bit of an olive branch to any of the companies out there that are watching. I've been in the ring with both BMD and Leo, and they can bring it. Now, like I said earlier, I may be a bit jaded, but they can bring it. But they would be a damn asset to any company they went to. I just wish that they understood that. BMD especially, I wish he understood that for himself, that he's an asset to anywhere he goes. And if you could just get out of that mindset of doing it for everyone else and do it for yourself, you'd hit that next step. And you know what? I've got a seminar coming up. at Ensor on the 29th. And I'll be preaching all of my philosophies there too. So if there's any young wrestlers out there that want to learn how to wrestle the old way, the right way, get to Ensor, April 29th, and come and sit under the learning tree that is the necessary evil.
Well, I'm going to come back to Ensor in a second, because I do have questions I want to ask about that. And I have questions about Big Cheese Logan, who's coming on next Monday. So I have to ask you about that, because the Big Cheese is coming on. But I have a lot of comments for everybody that I have to get to here. Certainly, a man who certainly made quite a name for himself when he was on here, which I'm kind of surprised. Why isn't he on here tonight? The Scottish Savage, Davey Blaze, is here and listening, and he certainly was here when he was here the first time. And this individual says, "Sup, losers." I think that might be toward you, potentially, Mr. BMD, but I'll plead the fifth on that one. Certainly, Pride here. Pride we've seen in GT Ministries, Ensor, and some other companies, says, Pride has seen Palmer, the Necessary Evil, fight a few times. Pride hopes the ring can physically handle the raw mass of the scuffle. But I tell you what, I would wonder if the ring could handle, let's say, potentially the likes of a Palmer and a BMD. Throw Kyle Kennedy in there. I mean, I don't know. It just reminds me of a SmackDown between Lesnar and Big Show there that one particular year. Palmer, I'll see you in the future, Big Evil. From Casey Jack Bradley, young trainee. We'll have to see. We'll find out. Also, Davey Blaze says the necessary evil needs to learn a savage lesson. Ooh, strong words there from Davey Blaze here. Also, have here
Anytime, brother.
Skulls also says that is how you build your fan base when it comes to I'm not sure what's the reason here to that. Bat Pigeon says, and we know Bat Pigeon very well, says, cool, how are you? And Casey Jack Bradley says GTM is watching, and well, if they are watching, they were also had their own Wrestle Church yesterday where we saw Gareth Angel return to the ring. Speaking of Ensaw, he wrestled Callum Jakester, the Upgrade, and I had a chance to watch that. Pride will be at Ensaw April the 29th. Are we forced to learn your method or just your ability? I mean, Johnny Palmer, you want to address that very quickly before I get to a Kyle Kennedy comment?
So let me just read it. Are we forced to learn your
method or your ability? Yeah, that's the question.
The method I teach is wrestling. I'm preaching my philosophy, but what I teach is wrestling. Now, you can take my philosophy. You can take any lessons I give you however you want. You can listen to them. You can not listen to them. You can take heed or you can not. All I can do is teach what I teach. It's up to you what you do with the knowledge. There's a book on physics. There's a book on physics, or there's a book on chemical engineering. You know, you can take the knowledge from a book on chemical engineering, and you can either use it to make something positive, or you can use it to make something destructive. Knowledge is knowledge. It's what the person what they do with it that matters.
All right, that's a fair statement. The Lawman Kyle Kennedy actually gives an interesting comment, I guess, to be for everybody here. He says, age and tenure is completely irrelevant. I'm a newbie or a wrestle kid who's been a champion and is currently a champion. I've main evented multiple shows for multiple companies under 18 months since debuting in December 2021. You know what, though? Palmer is correct. The fans aren't important. They don't pay us. So why pander to them? Why be liked when you can make money and hurt their faves to boot? I think that's a shot at you, BMD, of all people. That's a big shot toward you, Mr. BMD.
The thing with that is, that's partly right, but, without them fans buying them tickets and getting them bums on seats and buying your merch, you're not going to make money. You're not going to get booked again. See, you can have Palmer's method, and that's cool if that's how you want to go with it. But, with that ethnic, you're going to go there, and if there's no one watching, how are you going to get paid?
But I look at a lot of the
merchandise.
Yeah.
How are you going to sell your merchandise? How are you going to get people to want to see you again and again and think, I just seen Palmer. He was fantastic. We've got to go to that next show.
They do say that.
You see, I may be green, Palmer. I might be a rookie. But those fans are what help towards your paycheck.
Okay, but Kyle Kennedy is a rookie also, quote unquote. And he's gotten himself in the ring in main events. He's gotten himself in world title matches. And some might say, when's BMD getting there?
But we'll have to see what happens.
Good point. Excellent point there. And I'm going to bring everybody else in here in a second, but I have more comments because people are really fun. I want to thank everybody here that is tuned in because we have, countless amount of people that have tuned in here and all the different platforms on Sportswire Radio. And I really want to thank everybody for their support. That's why we love Firestar Championship Wrestling. And I'll talk Firestar Championship Wrestling every single day if I am given that opportunity. Matt Maxwell says here, the mad creator of Breakout Pro Wrestling himself is keeping an eye on things here. So hopefully you're enjoying yourself. Skull says for everybody, get the body bags ready for June 3rd. Oracle, Bella, I feel like you've got a body bag ready for somebody. Maybe Summer Rain's got a body bag ready for June 3rd. You want to tip your hand? Anything that you might want to say? I'm sure you have a body bag ready for somebody.
Just keep your eyes open.
Ooh, I tell you what, this is why we love this company so much. Pride will never learn every method and the extensive knowledge you have, Palmer. It may be used against you. Well, I mean, we'll find out, right? I mean, we'll find out. Bad Pigeon says, I have been in the ring with both Palmer and BMD, which is true, in another promotion, and can say that they know their way around the ring. Also, BMD, turn the lights back off. I'm trying to eat.
Can I just touch on
Yes.
Jam Dog? You
Yes.
know what, man?
I wasn't gonna. How do you know it's Jam Dog, though?
Jam Dog, it's his face. It's his face.
Yes, but you can't necessarily say for sure definitively here on Sportswire.
You know it's his humor. You know it is his humor.
I know him. I know Jam Dog, but this is Jamie Mack.
Maybe it's an impersonator, but either way, not funny. Grow up.
Ooh, boy, BMD. I tell you what, BMD is starting to get testy here tonight on Sportswire. And I'm going to throw it out there. Our guest coming up next Friday, Walker Wall Street. Certainly, he may not be the Wolf of Wall Street, but he says, good afternoon. Lucky I'm not on Firestar Championship Wrestling. It would be a different story. I mean, is he addressing all of you here? Because Walker Wall Street, by the way, he's got his own issues in CCW with Tommy Diamond. I mean, so it seems like Mr. Wall Street might be wanting to focus on that more or less. And this guy there, BMD, I know you wanted to say something.
Well, and Nate Sawyer is one nasty dude. I tell you what, Walker, we've got our history, but I think I am the least of your worries right now.
He's got a lot of worries, and I'm going to ask him about that next Friday. And starting coming up here on Friday on Sportswire, we're going to be calling it almost Championship Week, and this is where Palmer is going to be interested. And I know we're going to bring Bella in a second, and also because starting this Friday, we're actually bringing in his first full interview, the CCW Underground Heavyweight Champion, Grayson Raleigh. I know you've heard of him before, BMD. He is going to be with us 8:30 p.m. British Standard Time, and he is going to have a lot to say, especially about Cutlery Championship Wrestling, maybe even Slugger Hampton, James Barris, a man you've certainly been in the ring with. And we're also going to have on Monday, that's going to be the 17th, just for you, Palmer, Big Cheese Logan from Championship Wrestling Entertainment to get us ready for April the 21st. We're going to have on... We're going to then have on the next day, we're going to have on the Natural Born Fighter, R.P. Davis, who is the TNT champion. And on top of that, he's going to be wrestling for the Odyssey Pro Wrestling Championship. He's going to be wrestling against Ryan Hunter, who they call the John Cena of Morecambe. So we're going to see that coming up here on Tuesday. And then we're going to have a full slate of shows ahead after that. So stay tuned for further announcements. But we're calling a championship week of a who's who of professional wrestling stars that are going to be in the ring that are holding a championship or being in the ring with a championship. So stay tuned there. But Hammerhead Smith says this show will be sold out. Do you know why? Because Hammerhead Smith is main eventing. Well, Rob Bagwell and certainly Mr. Valletta might want to have something to say about that. So certainly Mr. Tom LaRufa is going to certainly have no doubt some comments about that. And so is Rockstar Rob Bagwell. But you know, for you, Bella, I got to bring up this particularly comment without a comment. That is Christy Love, but with no comment. You want to say anything to that, Bella? What does that mean, man? Christy Love with no comment.
I think she's trying to say I have nothing to bring. But I have everything to bring.
Do you think it's mind games she's trying to play with you? Because I've noticed tonight that Summer Rae and Christy Love seem to be playing in different strategies, mind games towards you. Maybe they don't. Maybe it's not that they don't take you seriously, but maybe it's they're trying to get you off your A game. Is a better way to phrase it. You think that's what it is?
Probably what she's trying to do here.
May I say something?
Absolutely. You can say anything you want.
You threw a beating down on my Oracle. I had to carry her out the ring. I had to sit her on a chair while she was in agony. When I seen that, I decided to take it upon myself and show her a few more tricks that she could use against you. So on June the 3rd, be ready.
Now, do you want to share any of those tricks, or do we need to stay tuned and show up there on the 3rd of June out there for Firestar Championship Wrestling?
It's all a secret until the day.
Well, I certainly hope you get to 212 Halifax Road in Ripon by Sorey Bridge, and tickets are still available. So go to the Firestar Championship Wrestling pages to find out here more. We've got about 15 or 20 more minutes with the gang here, and we want to thank them so much for the time they provided us here on Easter. And I'm glad everybody's having a great time here. Although Palmer may say we do it for different reasons, but that's here nor there. Eventually, when I'm on a show, money doesn't matter to me. I care about making fans happy and smile once I step into a ring. I get a rush no matter how much it hurts, and no matter who my opponent is, I will jump every obstacle I hope eventually to meet all of you someday and battle you. Why? Because I'm always determined to beat you. Well, stay tuned. I mean, keep training and keep aspiring, and you never know here. Oh, me out, BMD. How's your head after the last Firestar show, kid? So certainly, this individual knows something about you. If it might be Jam Dog, maybe not.
Honestly, if this is Jam Dog, I'm not even going to give you a reaction because you pulled out from our match. I was ready. What's your excuse? That's all I'm going to say on it, or else I'm going to...
BMD, I like you a lot. I do like you. I have a soft spot for you. But you seem kind of stressed out today. You seem just razzled. Maybe it's Palmer. Maybe it's the comments. Maybe it's Kyle Kennedy. Maybe it's, if it is Jam Dog. I don't know, but you just seem razzled tonight. You seem definitely off your game. Definitely.
Oh, I wouldn't say off my game, Tom. I wouldn't go as far as that at all. In fact, this is the most focused I've been the whole time since I started training. Because now because I know with wrestling, I'm just doing this to have fun. What have I got to lose? What have I got to lose? Because if I'm not happy in that ring, there is no point in me being there. There is no point in me showing up. See, since that show, a lot of things have gone down. A lot of things have gone wrong. A lot of people have said, BMD doesn't deserve the chance. BMD doesn't deserve to wrestle with this person or that. I'm all the hell with that. I am here because I have made a name for myself, and I cannot thank the fans enough for that. Because without them, I would be absolutely nothing. See, that night, I did you a favour, Jam, and you can nod your head all you want, Palmer. You can nod your head all you want, mate.
The fans didn't put you where you are. Your tenacity and your hard work put you where you are.
And it wouldn't be noticed without them people paying for them seats, Palmer.
Well, I think that's going to be a question that's going to be back and forth here until we get into the ring coming up on June the 3rd for Firestar Championship Wrestling, undoubtedly. Christy Love wants to say it was a laughing emoji, but I didn't see the laughing emoji there for anybody that was watching and listening, especially Bella and Leo there. And she says, I'll do it again. I have seen Christy Love, by the way. She can certainly go in the ring. I've seen her quite a bit in GT Ministries and some other promotions. So, I mean, I will give her respect, but I'm not quite sure what the point was there. Skulls does think that Bella was trying to be set up by Christy Love and maybe even Summer Rain. So I kind of tend to agree on this one. A well-deserved laughing emoji for these jokers. Well, I mean, maybe not. That's your opinion, and you'll certainly stick to it. Skulls says he hopes to see everybody in the UK next year when Skulls goes. Appreciate that. And it's your old pal Jam here, so I guess maybe it is Jam Dog. I was trying to play along just in case. But before we move on to a few other thoughts and closing thoughts, I want to ask you something, Mr. Palmer, because I alluded to it on Monday next week that we are having on here once again the Big Cheese Logan of Championship Wrestling Entertainment. Certainly somebody that you know very, very well, and a big man like yourself. And he is certainly somebody that is not a new kid on the block. He is certainly somebody that has a very similar background to you, and I heard yourself describe what you've done. It almost sounded to me like Mr. Big Cheese Logan, but you do have a little bit of a different personality and a different attitude than Mr. Logan. So I want to give you the opportunity to address him because he's coming back next Monday, obviously to promote your match and the rest of the card over at Championship Wrestling Entertainment. So be my guest and say anything that you feel and desire toward Mr. Big Cheese Logan, next Monday's guest on all Sportswire radio platforms, 7:30 p.m. British Standard Time.
So, Cheese. A man who I have faced on multiple occasions up and down this great country of ours. And like you said, a man who comes from very similar backgrounds, have very different mindsets. I'm more serious than he is. You could say that he's a bit more jovial. I would say he's a bit more of an oaf. And I'm going to show him up for the oaf that he is in that match. Because he's not just wrestling me. He's also got to wrestle B.A. Rose. A man who has stamped his seal of quality everywhere he's gone up and down the country. Now, one of the last times I faced Cheese was in a three-way, and it was myself and Cheese and Drake Winter. And Cheese got the win because Drake Winter decided to clobber me with a chair. Now, for those of you that don't know Drake Winter, he's not a small gentleman. And being clobbered by a chair by a rather large man after you've already taken a bit of a beating in a match isn't fun. So, yeah, the last time we fought, he got the pin on me. So now I'm looking for my revenge. I'm looking for my payback. My, to quote an insider term, receipt. But it's not the receipt I'm after. It's the belt I'm after. It's the title that I want. And if I've got to go through B.A. Rose, that's fine. If I've got to go through Cheese, even better. Because as big as he is, I'm just as big. I'm probably one of the only legit 300-pound guys on the circuit today that can move the way I move. And like I said, I'm not some young upstart. I'm not some young whippersnapper that's been around for a year or two that doesn't know what they're doing. I was grappling before I even set foot inside the ropes. So that's what I'm going to show him. I'm going to show him how to wrestle. Because yeah, he may have a slight advantage on me on fighting because he did a few more years of MMA than me. But he fought where there were rules. I was fighting on the doors where there were no rules. I was taking bottles, knives, and bits of wood out of people's hands that were trying to kill me with them. And that's what I've transferred to the wrestling world. And I've done it very, very well. And I've been very, very successful. Which is why I'm in the UK title match. And who better to represent CWE and carry the UK title than a man who actually travels up and down the UK? Because I'll bring that belt everywhere I go and I'll defend it everywhere I go. If they want me to defend it at CWE, I'll defend it at CWE. If they want me to defend it at Ensor, I'll defend it at Ensor. If they want me to defend it at Brawl in Birmingham, I'll defend it at Brawl. I'll defend the belt everywhere I go because I'm willing to do that. Where Cheese isn't. Cheese will be happy having the belt, taking photos with it. To him, it's a photo opportunity. To me, it's a way of giving myself some prestige. It's a way of making myself relevant, making myself matter, and making myself money.
Well, I have a few more comments, and I'll get to everybody here before we get to closing thoughts in a second, because you did mention Enso, and certainly we'll get Big Cheese Logan's perspective on this next Monday starting at 7:30 p.m. British Standard Time. I'm sure that Mr. Logan will certainly have a slightly different take, but we expect that. But you did mention Enso. You've done some seminars there as well, and they have a champion that's also a big man. And his name is Disciple, and he holds 2 championships at the moment. He is the guy that obviously took Gareth Angel out of action for many, many months, up until, frankly, yesterday. And he's the guy that has held the NSAW championship for several months now, and nobody's really come close to taking that championship away from him. And obviously, you're a big man, and you're a guy that pretty much pulls no punches. And Disciple's been on here many, many times on Sportswire. I'm sure you're aware of that. I mean, anything you might want to say to Mr. Disciple, who's currently their champion in Nonstop Action Wrestling, since you obviously do some stuff there? I mean, can I ask you maybe if that's something that you might want to see Mr. Disciple in the ring? Because some might even say that he hasn't faced somebody like you.
Oh, I would chomp at the bit to face Disciple. a man as strong, as talented, and as ferocious as he is, I would revel in that. I would absolutely revel in it. Because he's a man that I respect immensely. But just because I respect you doesn't mean I won't beat you. I don't have to like somebody to respect them. I don't even have to respect them to have a match with them. But he's one man I do respect. And I would be chomping at the bit and I would be lying through my teeth if I said I wouldn't love the opportunity to wrestle him for one or both of them titles at some point. But we'll see what comes of it. We'll see. We'll see who's got the mettle, who's got the fortitude to give me that opportunity against him in whichever ring it may be. Doesn't matter where it is.
Well, I'll tell you what. I know Hammerhead Smith is certainly going to be with bated interest in something like that because he's going to be wrestling Disciple and Breakout Pro Wrestling, and I think next week is a part of Championship Week. I'm going to have to ask Mr. Hammerhead Smith because we're going to bring him on the show. I'm actually going to make a date for it, so we're going to make sure that he comes on here, and we'll certainly talk about that. And I'm going to go also on the record further and continue to speak about Championship Week that starts this coming Friday. We have Young Horace coming back, who was supposed to be here with us tonight, but he's going to be with us on Thursday the 20th. And we're going to get his perspective because Leo McLean, you're going to be seeing him in that ring, and I'm going to ask him about your championship. I'm going to ask him about being in the ring with you, and I'm certainly going to get, I'm sure, a lot on the mind from Mr. Young Horace, so you'll certainly stay tuned for that. So a lot going on here, but I do have some comments here before we get to some closing thoughts. Well, you have a big opportunity in this Big Daddy Memorial Battle Royal, which I think is for everybody that's in the Royal itself. We also have here a ton of comments, so I poked the bear. So let me go get to them first. Hometown boy, hometown advantage. The lawman is back home in Halifax. Is it Sobry Bridge? And to top it off, I will win the Big Daddy Memorial Battle Royal. This show, this night means more to me than any of you could ever know, and that's why I'm determined to run the gauntlet. And by that time, he could also be the Nonstop Action Wrestling Youngbloods champion. So Kyle Kennedy could be a double champion going into June 3rd. And by the end of June 3rd, he could be a Battle Royal winner and a double champion. So this very well could be something to stay tuned for. Casey Jack Bradley says, I have seen Palmer, and he is one wrestler you do not want to mess with. The man is evil in all the right ways, and it is necessary. This person who I just watched a little bit from yesterday at GT Ministries Wrestling Church, Joel Cobra of the Modern Day Mafia says, evening, everybody. And I know that Mr. Cobra and the Mafia are always lurking because we have seen them pretty much in almost every company on Sportswire that we work with. And Sportswire is definitely going to have a Savage Live podcast soon. If it was anything like the last one, I know some of us were on that stream. It'll certainly be one for the ages. And I think Bella and Leo kind of gave the facial expression that some might want to give. But hey, here nor there. The sheer volume of money and power given to holders of titles is quite heady. Callum got lucky. Work hard to stay in our match, rolling in at 256 pounds. Pride is willing to put in the extra work to put on the poundage required to see Palmer at his own game. Now, in stones, what would that be? Like 12 stones? About 12 and a half stones? That's something like that? 256 pounds? Stones-wise, about 12 and a half stones? Maybe somebody will give me a calculator. 18. There you go. That's why I wasn't good at math. But Hammerhead Smith says, Tom, you've seen what I can do. You know exactly what I'm capable of. And I actually have seen him in the ring many times. He is actually right on that. I will show what I do best. Again, you don't invite me to be on the live. It's always a politic BS against the management to air my voices. I was screwed by the ref against Valletta on that night. So once I take the strap off Bagwell and kick Tom LaRusse's fill-in-the-blanks to France, you know I'll do it because I'm unstoppable. Well, I said we're bringing you back on. I don't know what politics there is for that, but he also says, regards to Disciple, if Palmer doesn't get the job, I certainly will. I face him on June 11th in Breakout Pro Wrestling, and he'll be walking in to break out with the Firestar Heavyweight Championship. Well, I mean, I'm sure Mr. Disciple has something to say about that. I'm sure a lot of other people have something to say about that, and I'll say stay tuned, same place, same bat channel, because we'll have, I'm sure, a lot of talk from a lot of individuals about that. James Barris says, I just had James Barris on, though. James Barris, get me back on. The CEO has some breaking news for the CCW universe. All right. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. We have breaking news from James Barris. Are you guys ready for the breaking news from James Barris?
Yeah.
All right. Well, CCW has Coming Out Championship Wrestling. What does that mean? I don't know. But that's all I'm saying. So I guess then, James Barris, we'll be in touch. We'll get you on very soon. And you can tell us whatever that might mean about Coming Out Championship Wrestling. So I'm going to let James Barris describe that. That's certainly something that I will have to let Mr. Barris explain for those that are listening and watching. I guess we can say Jam Dog now. I can't wait to come back to FCW. I'm going to put Palmer in his place just for fun. Take that belt from Leo and pawn it for the $5 that it's worth just for fun. Then smash PMD just for fun.
BMD, moron.
Are you PMD now, or is it BMD?
I'm pretty sure it's BMD.
You look like you might be having PMS after that comment.
The guy stresses me out. Like the guy.
You see, I told you that you do seem stressed out tonight. I told you that.
It's you know what? Like I've had a lovely day. I've had a lovely day with family. You know. And just seeing that smug face just really, really infuriates me. You know, first of all, I take part in his tag match against Devlin. You know, he gets eliminated first. The rest of Team Jam carry the weight for him. And then guess what happens? Jam turns around, DDTs me, and laughs about it. Then has the nerve to pull out of our match. So yeah, Tom, I guess you could say I'm pretty annoyed.
You know, before I get to closing thoughts for everybody, you know, Bell and Leo, Jam Dog seems like somebody that could roll with you guys then. He DDTs his own tag team partner and kind of laughs and walks away. I mean, he might be good for you guys almost to work with.
Oh, he is a part of the Chuckle Crew. We don't really laugh that much, but
Unpredictable, though. He is unpredictable.
yeah, that's something I liked. No offense, BMD, it's just the way he worked. It worked well. And I should have took some advice really from him and maybe done that to Palmer, but didn't get the chance to DDT you. One day I might.
At least,
right, well,
yeah, you didn't get a chance to DDT me, but at least you worked. At least you worked with class. At least you carried yourself with class. Jam Dog, you're gonna smash me up for fun, son.
Oh boy, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm laughing at you, boy. Listen,
you know,
I'm not going to be scared.
The train is starting to come off the tracks on Sportswire. We were waiting for this moment. We got teases of it a little bit when it came to Palmer and BMD and that intense conversation about the fans and the money. But now we can see the station is starting to leave without the train. And Adam Morgan, speaking of comments with trains that have left the station and are off the track, says woo and gives some, I don't even know what it means, but that's kind of his gimmick.
I think that's it.
All right.
You got it? Yep. Sorry, woo. Sorry.
Boy, I tell you what, like I said, this is something on Sportswire where I think the train has definitely left the station here and we're going off the tracks. And management needs to negotiate my contract. I'm a two-star this business.
You know what? I will face Jam Dog anytime he wants to have a go. Anytime he wants to go, we'll go. Because even though I may have my few issues with BMD, at least he carries himself with class and he carries himself with integrity. He's not hiding behind a keyboard. He's on here, and I've addressed him man-to-man, face-to-face, and he's also addressed me. You're sat behind a keyboard like an absolute dullard. Yeah? Anytime, any company, come and find me. I am not a hard man to find. Although maybe you can't see me with them goofy-ass glasses on your face.
Yeah, that's his goofy glasses there. One more time for you, the goofy glasses. Adam Morgan says DDT for an acronym. All right, all great stuff there. I want to give everybody, before I get to closing thoughts, an opportunity, kind of a final thought here. So let's go first with you, Mr. BMD. Then I'm going to work my way around the room. So BMD, we're going to see you obviously in this huge battle royal coming up I am sure maybe we'll see you in some other things. Stay tuned. Same place, same back channel when it comes to our friends over at Firestar Championship Wrestling. But what do you want to say to anybody who's coming to see you on the 3rd of June, and also to anybody you might see in the ring?
Well, when it comes to coming to see me, what you see is what you get, and that is a beast. I'm here to have fun. I'm here to enjoy it. People might not agree with that. That's cool. Now, for everyone on here, I respect the hell out of all of you. Leo, you earned that title, man. You took on 19 other people. Bella, you held your own with Kirsty. Palmer, bro, you knocked me out. You know, I don't regret it a bit. You guys are amazing competitors, but Palmer, man, I appreciate what you've done for me, man. I do. But when it comes to this Big Daddy Memorial and Leo, Bella, if you guys join it, it's nothing personal. This is my chance to prove myself, not just to the fans, man. I've got to prove to myself that I can do this, because for the last month, I've had so much negativity of people telling me I don't deserve this. I'm not working hard enough.
I asked you about the pressure. I asked you. You might be under pressure. I did ask that question. That's
the pressure that I want. And if you ain't got that pressure in a match when you step into that ring, you've already lost. That's me.
Okay. Well, they call you BMD for a reason, and we'll find out on the 3rd of June. The necessary evil Palmer. I have no doubt that these next several weeks are going to be a vulgar display of Palmer, and I'm certainly going to bring you up quite a bit on Monday next week with Mr. Logan himself. But I want to give you the opportunity to address anybody that may want to come forward in this open challenge. Anything else when it comes to the 3rd of June, and that's now your opportunity.
Well, as everyone out there already knows, I've issued the open challenge. Now, from what I understand, the open challenge has been answered. I think we've kind of established that here tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And if it has been accepted by you, BMD, like you said, it's not personal. Really, it's business. But can I just say, to anyone out there, to all the BMD's detractors, as much as I'm going to have to hurt him in our match, if and when that happens, nobody trains harder and puts more effort and cares more about the fans than that man. And that's why, despite everything, he has still earned my respect. He had my respect at the start, and he has earned it, which a lot of people don't manage to do. The same with Leo. Leo earned my respect in that match, because whether or not I won, he gave it everything, and that I can respect. I can respect the grind, I can respect the hustle, and I can respect the fact that you are a champion, that you outlasted 19 other guys in a rumble. That's no mean feat. I'll be honest, I've never done it. It's one of the few things in my career I've never done, is win a rumble. So you've actually achieved something I never have. So hats off and kudos to you, sir. But in terms of when it comes to the 3rd, whoever steps in that ring, whether it's one guy, 2 guys, 3 guys, doesn't matter. They're all going to experience a vulgar display of Palmer. And everyone will see me for me and why evil is necessary.
Well, I'll tell you what, we very well could be seeing that. Certainly a vulgar display of power is considered to be one of the greatest heavy metal albums of certainly all time by a band called Pantera, and Palmer in his own right.
You picked up on that, huh?
Yeah, I did, obviously. I did, actually. Vulgar display of power. Actually, one of the first songs I ever learned, slightly off topic, one of the first songs I ever learned on bass guitar was Pantera, Cowboys from Hell and Walk. So Walk was on, obviously, Vulgar Display, and Cowboys from Hell was the opening track on Cowboys from Hell. So I had to give the Pantera nod there a little bit, too. Since they are, I guess you could say they have reunited. Or I mean, I can't say it's a...
I'm not going that.
I know, it's kind of divided all of social media. Is it really Pantera? Is it a tribute act? I don't know, but that's that's here nor there. You can ask me off the air. Yeah, I don't consider it to be Pantera with only 2 original members, and it's not the members that actually founded the band, but that's here nor there. But let's
Well,
get
they are to
really.
Pantera what Cavalera Conspiracy is to Sepultura.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Pretty fair. And Sepultura was certainly one of my more favorite bands. Also, obviously, Chaos AD and Roots certainly were 2 of them. There you go. There you go. Yeah, there you go. There you go. You do have a little bit of a Max Calavera look, a little bit to you. I don't know if you were trying for the beard at all, but you do have a little bit of that look. So I'll give you that much. So, but at least you didn't say Soulfly, because I couldn't get into Soulfly. Soulfly wasn't quite for me, unfortunately. But let's move away from Soulfly and Sepultura and Pantera and get to Bella here. Bella, I mean, is there anything that you might want to say to anybody that you're going to see across that apron on June the 3rd?
Well, Summer Rain, Violet Night, and Kirsty. Just keep your wits about you. What's the word? Chopping at the bit to bring the chaos, and I will not stop until I have brought everything I can. So keep your eyes open.
I like the chopping at the bit reference there. It's a reference I've used quite a bit in the 4.5 years I'm doing this. So I really appreciated that. So thank you for that. And I'm looking forward, anticipating anxiously what you're going to do in the ring, no doubt. I saved you purposely for last, champ, before I get to closing thoughts, because you have been addressed quite a bit. And you're the guy in a lot of ways, maybe in some cases, is being overlooked tonight, because we've got BMD and Palmer, and they're certainly waiting. They're kind of certainly maybe their beef, quote unquote, is long-standing. Bella's mixed it up with Kirsty Love and certainly Summer Rae, but you're the champ, my friend, and I give you the opportunity. To anybody that's going to see you in that ring on June the 3rd, you've got a whole list of opponents. Young Horace is going to be also with us next Thursday. So I'm sure you get the first shot to fire at him, and I'll let him respond in kind. But so anything you might want to say to him or anybody else you're going to be across that apron for your championship on June the 3rd, the floor is yours.
On June the 3rd, I've got a 6-man elimination match. 2 of the competitors I've not met at all. They are Morgan Daly and Kieran Young. Don't know them. I may have to look them up just to see. And that's what I do with most of my opponents. Now, I've got 3 others. Those 3 were within the final 4 of the Rumble with me. One of them was Austin Brooks. I've got a lot of respect for them. They are the human pinball machine. The other is Kai Arwen. First time meeting him that night. And from what I've seen, he loves to kick.
Wrestled in CCW in the LWF. In fact, has a victory over Hammerhead Smith, if I'm not mistaken.
Then I may have some talks with him. The other one is Young Horace. Again, first time meeting him that day. And he drop kicked me. I'll give him that. It was a lovely drop kick. It stunned me.
I've seen him wrestle. I know he can do it. I've watched him quite a bit in the ring.
But for all of the competitors, there may be only 5 of these. As Palmer said, I outlasted 19 others. 5, it's a walk in the park. Just do me a one favour, guys. And that is, bring the havoc. Because I will.
Strong words for our champion. And before we get to closing thoughts, I do have breaking news from Firestar Championship Wrestling, which you might be curious for. And management has alerted us that, oh, by the way, everyone, there will be another entry in the women's gauntlet match on the 3rd of June. Certainly, Bella, I'm sure you're going to be waiting anxiously to figure out who that might be. Although Jam Dog says it's BMD, but BMD, I don't think you qualify for this one, so it can't be you.
For the love of God, Jam Dog, just leave. Just leave. No, I really can't.
Well, I'm going to be very polite and say I don't know if there's anything that we know differently about you, BMD, but I'm going to at least safely say that.
You know, I'm
It's
all
okay if
dude.
so. Listen,
I'm
it's
all
okay
dude.
if so. But I'm going to safely say that you will not be entering the women's gauntlet match on June 3rd.
No, I will not.
All right, fair enough. Moving along here because it is Easter and certainly also one more thing for management, by the way. Management has more breaking news for us. And keep your eyes open because we will have more big news to come. And I know Sportswire Radio, I think we're going to be playing a big role in that because Hammerhead Smith is coming on to Sportswire soon and Young Horace is coming on soon. So I would imagine more coverage from Firestar Championship Wrestling when it comes to this breaking news. We'll have all the details plus much, much more. And I'm sure that everybody here watching and listening will certainly be with us here once again. And Casey Jack Bradley says, good luck, everyone. I hope you all kill it in June. And stay tuned for us for more details, certainly for Firestar Championship Wrestling. But let's go first for closing thoughts. Let's go to the hometown boy, Mr. BMD. Certainly a rather stressful show for you tonight. Certainly you got hit from all sides, all angles, or whatever you want to say. So I'm going to give you the opportunity for some closing thoughts. Anything else you want to plug, share, say? Social media also, please plug. And anything else out there, my friend? We do love you. We do have a soft spot for you, but you definitely might have took some on the chin tonight. So it's your opportunity for closing thoughts. And also, please plug your social media so we all can continue to follow and support you, my friend.
First of all, Ripon isn't actually my hometown. I'm about an hour and a half east. I grew up in. Sorry. But as I say, whatever happens June 3rd, it won't be laughy, smiley BMD having a stressful time because Jam Dog keeps winding me up. It's going to be a focused BMD. It's going to be a BMD coming out for some retribution. Once again, I like all of you here. But if you get in my way, there ain't a chance in hell. Also, BMD on Facebook, Big Mark Dafter Instagram.
Big _ Mark _ Dafter on Instagram. Make sure you
I'm
get this
not down with the kids, man.
Well, you got to get those followers. We got to get those followers. But yes, all
Okay.
great stuff there, certainly. And happy Easter, and certainly a rather lively one, to say the least. And I am going next to Palmer, the necessary evil. We're going to give us a vulgar display of Palmer here. Certainly, probably a Phil Anselmo-like closing thoughts here, to say the least. And certainly anything you want to share, anything you want to say, any social media out there you want to plug, please do. And I know that Mr. Big Cheese Logan will certainly be very, very curious to see what you have to say. And more certainly, we'll make sure that he's alerted by your thoughts on him, as well as Mr. Disciple as well. And I give you the opportunity here, hopefully for the first of many appearances on Sportswire. So please plug your social media. Anything else you might want to say, the floor is yours. Fire away.
So June 3rd, I'll see everybody there. And I look forward to whatever you may bring, especially you, BMD. I want to see that fire. I want to see that aggression. Champ, I really hope you can hold on to that belt. Bella, I'll be really interested to see what you bring to your match. But I mean, you're the oracle, so if anyone's going to know what the future holds, maybe it'd be you. And in terms of Logan, I'll see you on the 29th. No, 21st. Sorry.
21st.
I'll see you on the 21st. I'll see you on the 21st at CWE, at the Fleetwood Con Club. With me, you, B.A. Rose, for that gorgeous UK title. But no matter how big you are, no matter how good B.A. Rose is, that title's come with me, come hell or high water. And then you'll be able to see all the lovely pictures of it on my Instagram at Palmer the Necessary Evil, and all over my Facebook at also Palmer the Necessary Evil. And you may even be able to see clips of the match at my YouTube, which again, Palmer the Necessary Evil. That's all the places you can find me, and that's all the places the fans will get to see me taking and holding every single title that I can get my hands on.
Strong, strong words, and certainly Mr. Joshua Howard, and also Mr. Big Cheese Logan, and certainly Mr. Rose, they're going to be certainly paying attention very, very closely to those final thoughts as well. Also, checking in from Charleston, South Carolina, Anthony Finkel, who last I checked was in the state of New York. Then he was in the state of Florida, but I guess he's on a road trip. Says he's from South Carolina. Says, great show, everybody. Anthony, huge wrestling fan, big, big supporters of ours. And he likes Mr. Palmer. He says, necessary evil, tough talking. Yes, Anthony's a big man in his own right, so I know that he appreciates big men because he's like 6'2.5" or 6'3". So I'm sure Anthony Finkel would certainly be friends with Mr. Palmer and certainly would buy him a beer because he could afford to buy Mr. Palmer the beer. So that's here nor there. Check is on Finkel. But Bella, I want to give you the opportunity for anything else you want to plug, share, any social media out there, and always love speaking to you and everything you bring out there in the ring. So floor is yours, my friend.
My Twitter is still being fixed, unfortunately. So a lot of my stuff is going through Leo. So he can tell that one. And just everybody needs to keep their eyes open for what comes.
Short, sweet, and to the point. Always like that here. Anthony Finkel says check is in the mail for Mr. Palmer's drink. All right, so we're all having fun here. It's Easter, everybody. Happy Easter also to Anthony Finkel. So the champ, I'm going with you last for your final thoughts. Anything you want to plug, share, say. Obviously, hold up that pretty championship, one of the more prettier prizes in all of professional wrestling. Roman Reigns wishes he had that championship. Listen, MJF wishes he had that championship. I mean, listen, anybody out there would die to have that championship, but you have it, my friend. That is the Firestar Openweight Championship. So I give you the floor. Anything else you want to plug, share, say, also social media, and the floor is yours, champ.
Well, first of all, somehow this just hit me. Has Hammerhead Smith got something against the Scottish? I mean, he tagged David Blaze. Now he's gone after me at one point. But that'll probably be a good question to ask him.
I'll ask him next week. Don't you worry. I'll ask him that. You got it. You got it.
For YouTube and Facebook, it's Leo McLean. Twitter, it's Leo McLean PW. I think that's it because I don't really use Instagram. I don't see the point in it.
Okay, all right. I have to say, I'm a big Instagram guy. I mean, I do use Twitter, but I think Instagram's kind of the big deal. It's kind of the rage, I guess, of the younger generation. I actually cover a lot of professional basketball and college basketball, and it's a big deal with that. But that's okay. Listen, whatever works for you, you're the champion, and I'm not going to argue with the champion. But I want to thank everybody here for tuning into Sportswire Radio. One more time, I want everybody to please like and follow Firestar Championship Wrestling. That is Firestar Championship Wrestling on Instagram and Facebook. And we had the honor and good fortune tonight to be with BMD, Palmer, the Necessary Evil. We're going to be talking a lot about next week on the show, and also the Oracle Bella, and also our open weight champion, our first ever open weight champion from Firestar Championship Wrestling. That is the unpredictable Jackal, Leo McLean, and my name, you know by now, which is the Reverend Tom Bryce. I am the man behind Sportswire Radio, and I will be back tonight, which will be 9 p.m. Central Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, about 2 a.m. UK time, with Wrestling Championship Entertainment. We'll have on Wrestling Championship Entertainment's All Out Champion Craven Rage, and also Killer Rabbit ahead of their match coming up at All Out Luck of the Draw. It'll be on April the 15th, so stay tuned for more details on that. If you're on sportnarium.com/player, you go back to your regularly scheduled programming, and I will be back with everybody in a few hours. In fact, I'm going to use the time off to go see John Wick 4. So we'll be out there in a little while to that. We'll see if I come alive in one piece, and hopefully I'll be back in time for Craven Rage, Killer Rabbit, and Championship Week ahead starting Friday with your old friend BMD, Mr. Grayson Riley. So certainly Mr. Riley will have a lot to say undoubtedly, but until then, happy Easter, everybody. God bless, and thank you, and thank you again to management of Firestar Championship Wrestling. Good night, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are on the number one Global Radio.